kind of uplifting, which, I mean, let's be real, man. In these quarantine days, that can be a little bit trickier to find. So, yeah, man, just wanted to pop on here for a few seconds. My name is Jim Schultz, obviously, with F Cubed. And we're going to hit a little bit of the faith angle here for just a couple of minutes. This is something I've been studying recently with not only my Bible study, but the podcast that I listen to and what have you. And I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy when you think about it this way. So, Jesus and Barabbas, right? So some of you guys might know this story. So at the end of Jesus's life, right? Like he's up there, he's about to be crucified, and he's having this exchange with Pontius Pilate, right? Like one of the most famous exchanges in all of, scripture. I mean, there are plenty of famous exchanges in all of scripture, so I don't know, they're all pretty famous. But anyway, Pontius Pilate is like, "Hey, are you the king of the Jews?" Right? And Jesus, gives him this famously ambiguous answer, right, which is interpreted a number of different ways in the different texts, but it's basically, "If you say that I am," right, something to that effect. And so Pilate kind of goes back and forth, right? Like he's really wrestling. He's like, "This man has done nothing wrong." He's like, "This man is completely innocent." And yet you guys, the people, right? You all want me to kill him. You all want me to crucify him and send him to his death. Like I don't feel right about that. Well, all this time there is an actual criminal being held, right? Barabbas, right? He has actually committed a crime. Like he deserves punishment, right? And so basically, through some back and forth, Pilate finally says to the people, he finally says, "All right, like here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let you all decide because it's Passover right now, and it's customary, right, that at Passover we let one prisoner go. And so I'm gonna let y'all decide, right? Do you guys want to let Jesus go, or do you guys want to let Barabbas go?" And the people decide, like, unanimously, like, let Barabbas go. We want to see Jesus dead. Here's where, so you guys might be familiar with that story. If you're not, then I think it's at the end of the Gospel of Luke, if not some of the others, but I'm pretty sure it's in Luke. So that's pretty crazy, right? If you think about that, like that's just wild, right? To actually process what it must have been like in that moment, to be, in the crowd, to be obviously Jesus, to be Pilate, right? Be put in a really difficult situation. But let's talk about Barabbas for a second. So there you are, you're sitting in your cell, right? You can hear the people cheering. You can hear the people saying, "Ah, yeah, kill him. Ah, yeah, crucify him," right? And you're the guy that committed the crime. Like, you're the guy that's got blood on his hands. So you hear the guard coming to your cell, and you're like, this is it. This is the end, right? Like, it's actually going to happen. I'm going to die today. And then the guard walks into your cell, and he says, "Barabbas, you're free to go. Jesus is going to die in your place today." That's crazy, y'all. Like, that's really, really crazy. Especially with Easter Sunday tomorrow and our celebrating as Christians, the resurrected Christ. It's just really, really wild because, and I want to keep this short there, I'm actually doing a decent job. I actually stayed on track, which is very, very unusual for me. Here's what's crazy about this story. Barabbas deserved the punishment, and Jesus took the punishment. Barabbas deserved the cross, and Jesus took the cross. Barabbas deserved to die, and Jesus took on death. And so if you haven't put the pieces together yet, let me spell it out for you. You are Barabbas. I am Barabbas. We are all Barabbi. And so as a result of that, it's like, wow, man. Like, the world that we live in right now, right? Like April 11th, 2020, it's crazy, man. With the coronavirus and all that stuff and quarantine, lockdown, all that, it's wild. It's crazy. But if we look at that story, right, the end of Jesus' life, we can cling on to that. And I don't know about you guys, man, but it gives me a ton of hope, right? It just gives me a ton of encouragement. Just thinking, wow, man, Jesus really did die for me. Wow, man, Jesus really is going to take my place. He's already done it once. He's going to do it again. He's going to take on the punishment that was ultimately meant for me, just like he took on the punishment and silently went to his death when the punishment was meant for Barabbas. And so, I don't know, man. Maybe that lifts you guys up a little bit. I really hope it does. When I was starting that and I heard that through the pieces all kind of came together, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm Barabbas. This is crazy. We're all Barabbas, right? This is really, really crazy. And so, I don't know, man. Maybe share that. If you're on Twitter, retweet it. If you're on Facebook, share it. If you're on YouTube, share it. That'd be really, really cool. Maybe get that out to some other folks. But either way, Christian, non-Christian, wherever you're at out there, man, I hope it lifted you up a little bit. I hope it brought you guys a little bit of hope. Have a great Easter Sunday tomorrow. I know it's going to be a really unique Easter for a lot of us since we can't leave the house. And so I really hope it's a blessed Easter nevertheless. And, through Christ alone, man, I will see you guys next time.